Audra Lambert here, and for those of you who do not know me, I'm a real estate agent who specializes in buying and selling and leasing homes in Orange County, California. And let me tell you, these leases, they're a lot of work, and I did a lot this month. Leases, yeah. It's a lot of work. So I'm going to talk to you today a little bit about what to expect if you're going to go lease a property, and also if you're a real estate agent, it's a lot of work. You got to be really comprehensive. You're there to protect your client, and if you do it right, it's a lot of work. But it's worth it in the long run. Your clients will be happy, and hopefully you'll have a client for life. All right, let's get into it. Okay, so let's say you're a renter and you're ready to go make an application for a property you have interest. Well, the first thing you have to do, at least if you're renting from me, and most agents out there require the same thing, is you have to fill out an application. Typically, this is done online. I use a company called Rent Spree. It's gonna cost you $30 to put your application in. They're gonna do a background check. They're gonna show you FICO scores. They're also gonna give a little work history. If you're paying your bills on time, there's a lot of information that goes into that screening process. So be prepared to do that in today's marketplace. Also, what's very common is for them to ask, meaning your landlord to ask for a verification of employment. They'll ask for a minimum of 2 months paycheck, okay? They will also ask for 2 months bank statements. Okay, so usually 2 months bank statements that shows that you have enough to cover the amount that is for rent on a monthly basis. Very standard. I know that's very comprehensive. I mean, I know when I was renting a property, I'm like, you got to be kidding me. Actually, my guy wanted tax returns, and that's not as common, but I've seen people ask for your tax returns as well. It's a very, very comprehensive process just to apply for the rental property. That's what the market's bearing right now. Okay, so something else that you have to be aware of is when, let's say you get this wonderful house and you're so excited, well, it's very common to ask for first month's rent, last month's rent, and a security deposit. And depending on the house, if it's furnished or not furnished, if it's furnished, usually the security deposit's a little bit higher. If you have pets, it's usually $500 a pet, like just my rule that I use. If there's like 7 kids and 5 dogs, then maybe the security deposit's more, but it's usually a little bit higher than the monthly rent. So potentially, if you're moving into a property, you have to have a lot of money to put forth just to get the property rented. So if you don't have a lot of cash in hand, I'd say save up, or you're not going to be getting those nicer rental properties. Okay, so if you are leasing a property, your realtor and you are going to have to fill out all this paperwork. Do you see that? Do you see how many forms there are? That is a million. I don't know if you can see that or not, but I'm just telling you, this is called headache. But it's here to protect you and whoever this is, to protect both parties, okay? If you're working with a real estate agent and they seem a little reluctant to help you with your lease, this is why. We get paid very little money to do a lease, and not that we're like, oh wow, we're all about money, but it's the paperwork. And then oftentimes, if you are the listing side of the lease, meaning that you're representing the lease, I personally take professional photos, excellence in all we do, right? And so if you factor the photos in there, at the end of the transaction, I literally make no money. If anything, I'm minus money, okay? So if you're ever working with a realtor that is helping you with the lease and you really like them, they did a good job, make sure you hire them in the future, because that's just good karma. And if you are working with an agent that isn't really interested in helping you, you know why. It's a lot of work, and yeah, you don't get paid any money. So, but that's not what this is all about. The most important thing you have to realize is on this form, okay? This is why I'm bringing this up. There's all these documents, but the most important document to protect you, obviously the purchase or the lease agreement, but the most important one, in my opinion, is what we call the Memo Form, move in, move out form. It's a California Association of Realtors form that we provide all of our homeowners and also the tenants. And when you move into the property, you write down the condition of every single thing you can find in the room before you even move in. Okay, if it's furnished, you got to take pictures and document everything you can about the property. But you're going to want to fill this form out of the condition as you moved in, preferably without the movers coming in, so you know exactly what the condition of the property is. And I would notate literally everything, like doorknob missing, or scrape on the wall, or paint discoloration, or floors aren't perfect, whatever that is. Like literally notate everything, and then take pictures and videotape everything. Please, if you can, like put it in the cloud, or make sure you have some type of storage system where you don't lose that documentation. Okay, very, 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 very important. Cannot express how important that is. Now, when you go move out of your property, guess what? You're gonna go fill out the same form. This is the condition of the property. Here's pictures of it. It's clean. You know, the house is in the same condition as it was when I moved in. So that's the importance. There's been a lot of disputes over the years with tenant landlords, and that all has to do with, oh, well, that wasn't there when I moved in, or, you know, that was, you know, whatever. Just take the pictures, fill out the memo form. That's what I can tell you right now. Okay, so let's talk about utilities. It is very customary for the tenant to pay for their own utilities, right? However, if you have a short-term 3-month, a 30-day term, it typically the landlord will pay for it and they will bill you. That's at least that's my experience with working with short-term versus long-term. Long-term is anything, let's say, over 6 months, 8 months, something like that. So the utilities are typically your responsibility. The homeowner typically pays for the gardening service. And the reason why that's important is because they are the ones that should be responsible for the landscape. It should be their people that they hire. So if something goes awry, that's on them, not on the tenant. Okay, so very important. If you're a landlord, don't let the tenant pay for the landscaping service, because guess what? They're not going to pay for it, or they're going to hire their brother to do it. Like, you should always, the landlord should pay for the gardening services or the pool service for that matter. That's on them. And if you homeowners are out there saying, I don't want to pay for that, trust me, it's worth the money, okay? You still should maintain the landscaping and the pool and anything that needs to be maintained on the exterior of the house. Once again, you can trust me on that later. Or you can thank me, I should say. This is my last statement, and then I'll be done with this lease video. But is it better to put your house for rent, for sale by, or leased by owner, or is it better to go and hire a real estate agent to go lease your property? I can tell you most real estate agents are going to say, oh yeah, just put it on Zillow, because they don't want to mess with it. And if you go that direction, good on you, but make sure that you screen your tenants very thoroughly. So, you know, I would definitely make sure they do the screening. Even if you're a homeowner, you can still go on rentspree.com. I'll put the link down below, and you can, you know, definitely make sure that you screen your own tenants, okay? Make sure they have a JOB, make sure, you know, they pay their bills on time. If you're not really feeling a good vibe with these people, maybe you can ask for a referral from them. And if you do want to go the MLS route with an agent, like, you know, they're going to fill out all these forms for you. So you're going to be very well protected, both you and your tenant. So I think some of the horror stories I hear from homeowners that had tenant issues is that they're representing themselves. So they didn't really know kind of how to navigate that or how to write the contract properly. So, you know, it's up to you. I think you are saving a little bit of money if you do it yourself. And, you know, if you do the education and know how to protect yourself in the process, great. And if you're kind of new at this, I would say probably work with an agent that really understands leases well until you get a feel for it and how to write the contracts and how to protect yourself. Okay. So like a good example of that would be, you know, homeowners insurance, right? They should have, meaning your tenant should have the proper insurance in place to their own rental insurance. Like a lot of people that don't do a lot of transactions, meaning they're doing it on the side, they don't have their tenants get that insurance. And so something happens in the inside and now there's this big dispute. But if you fill out the contract properly, meaning the California Association Realtor contract properly, like all that's covered in the contract. So anyway, I'm rambling, but if you do have interest in rentals, don't call me. I'm totally kidding. Happy to help, of course. And if you want to know approximately what your house is worth in our area, Orange County, we're about $2.25 per square foot. So if you just take the square footage of your home and times it by $2.25, that's an approximation. And then just go up and down. If you have a pool, add more. If you have a view, add more. If it's more upgraded, add more. That just kind of gives you a baseline. All right, that's it for today. Any questions? Please don't hesitate and call me. Okay, take care and have a wonderful day.